the audience is not something I have any interest in. Misinforming the audience is not something I have any interest in. Misinforming the audience is not something I have any interest in. Misinforming the audience is not something I have any interest in. Lie. Sometimes I'm a little scared or I'm afraid of talking to people who are outside of my range, I'm scared or a little scared of talking to people who are outside of my range because I'm afraid of talking to people who are outside of my range because I'm afraid of talking to people who are outside of my range because I'm afraid of talking to people who are outside of my range because that was a pivotal moment for me because, again, misinforming the audience is not something I have any interest in. I'm afraid of talking to people who are outside of my range because is not something I have any interest in. Look, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I'm a little scared or I'm afraid of talking to people who are outside of my range because I'm afraid of talking to people who are outside of my range because look, I'm not gonna lie. I'm afraid of talking to people who are outside of my range because that was a pivotal moment for me because, again, misinforming the audience is not something I have any interest in. I'm afraid of talking to people who are outside of my range because I'm afraid of talking to people who are outside of my range because I'm afraid of talking to people who are outside of my range because I'm afraid of talking to people who are outside of my range. Misinforming the audience is not something I have any interest in. I'm afraid of talking to people who are outside of my range. Misinforming the audience is not something I have any interest in. I'm afraid of talking to people who are outside of my range because I'm afraid of talking to people who are outside of my range because I'm not gonna lie. I'm afraid of talking to people who are outside of my range because I'm afraid of look, I'm not gonna lie. Of talking to people who are outside of my range because I'm afraid of talking to people who are outside of my race because I'm afraid of like talking to people. afraid of like talking to people. afraid of like talking to people. Afraid of like talking to people who are outside of my race because
but those with the lowest IQ, only the really I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ.
I'm afraid of like talking to people who are outside of my race because afraid of like talking to people who are outside of my race because that was a pivotal moment for me. Misinforming the audience is not something I have any interest in. Look, I'm talking to people, afraid of like talking to people who are outside of my race because
Hello? Is it on? Testing. Testing. Oh, Max is coming. Max, I'm talking to the TV again. I'm crazy. Max, I'm crazy. Hello? Hello? Is it on? Hey. Is it on? Oh. Whoa. Whoa. Ah. Oh. This morning. Today. The Above It All program brought to you by Max the dog, who's a dog, and he's a boy. And look at this guy. Look at Thursday morning, everybody. Thursday today on the show. Normally, I get a day off, okay, everybody? Normally, I take Wednesdays off. I try to chill. You know, I want to relax. And I decided not to do that yesterday. I'm having too much fun. You know, I don't like going to the zoo often. Personally, I'm not a fan of the zoo. I think the zoo is immoral. But now and again, I like to go to the petting zoo equivalent of the internet. And so I've been having a lot of fun with that. So, and we got more. I got way more. So we're not stopping yet. I'm on the motherfucking warpath, all right? We're not quitting. Okay? Not yet, anyway. But I'm doing a show today. Everyone should do me a favor. Do me a fucking favor if you want. I mean, you don't have to. Do me a favor and retweet the show. Quote tweet my show even. Like do a quote tweet and say like get in. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Just hop on in. Hop on in and get on in. We're gonna be talking about. We're not just going to be talking about dumb bitches, just in case. I don't know how many new people are watching, but I don't just cover dumb bitches on my show. Dumb bitches are like half my show normally. And so we're going to be in the half the show talking about real stuff that matters, half the show talking about dumb bitches. And so, there you go. What are we on and where can I get some? I am on the raw, unfiltered coffee plus dealing with dummies directly delivered to my doorstep combination. I say this, right? And this is just a PSA to any of the new viewers out there, because I know I got a lot of Destiny fanboys watching my shit. I know I got a lot of Shoe on Head fanboys watching my shit. Yo, Shoe on Head called me a serial killer, by the way. We're going to get into that. That's going to be a feature of today's program. Shoe on Head calling me a serial killer because I said bad words. So, again, I don't really care about people insulting me. I've been insulted so many times. I've been through near-death experiences, right? So someone calling me a man on the internet, not going to work. Someone calling me a tranny, you're going to have to try harder. And I'm saying that because I believe in you. I believe that you motherfuckers can actually insult me in a way that actually will affect my psyche. I believe it's possible, right? Because I'm a little fucking traumatized little piece of shit, right? So it should be easy to trigger me, right? So, all I'm saying is I know y'all can do better. But I liken it to, getting a free, extra large pizza, and I didn't even know it was happening. My doorbell rings, there's just an extra large pizza there, sitting on the doorstep, right? It's free, I didn't pay for it, and it's right there. I open it up, and it's pizza. I eat that shit, right? That's how I view Twitter. That's how I view about the fanboys, the Anna Kasparian fanboys. That's how I view all of you. It's like a free extra large pizza. Now, again, I don't want to overeat, right? There's a point where it gets unhealthy, but I haven't reached that point. I'm on a binge. I'm making fun of the morons. So, thought I'd let you all know that. ACAB means the tone police. I agree. Am I on cannabis? I'm always on cannabis, my man. I'm gonna take your dog. Joke's on you, I don't have a dog. I live with a dog, but I don't have a dog, so no possessive nouns or pronouns here on this show. Let me just, let me get a couple things straight here. Let me get a couple of these, let me get a couple of these fucking things straight here. Oh, Jesus, I still have this open. I got that open. Christ all fucking mighty, y'all. Okay. Let's start today's show by boring everyone to death, right? Everyone shows up here and says, oh, are we going to make fun of dumb bitches? We will, okay? Hold your fucking phone, buddy, okay? I want you to do this, right? Make this grip. I'm sure many people in my audience are very familiar with this grip, all right? So I want you to make this grip and then get your phone, right, and put your phone in there, okay? Hold the motherfucking phone. We got more important things to talk about on my show. All right. Just gotta make sure my windows are all prim and proper. I gotta crop this. I gotta make sure, a couple more pixels. Okay. All right. So I want to let everyone know what one of my grand theses are on society at large, writ large, at large. I keep forgetting the difference between them. I'm illiterate, by the way. But one of my grand analyses is everyone is getting dumber, right? And we live in a world that it hinges on the fact that everyone lives in a different reality. So, everyone has a different set of facts that they believe are true, right? And you see this play out in real time all over the place, right? You see this play out, people think Jesus is real, so they pray. Jesus isn't real. It's not real. It's all made up, but they think that it's real, so they will do crazy shit because they think Jesus is real, right? Some people, they think that transgender people are destroying the entire sports industry or some shit. There's no evidence of this, right? Like there's no trans gold medalist, right? But they believe it. They believe it with all of their heart. It has to be true for them, right? It's a fact to them. But again, there is no real consensus on reality. We can't agree. Is the climate changing? We don't know. Is it raining outside? Not sure, right? So like people really, there is no reality consensus here. And one of those areas where this is most prominent is COVID. We are in the middle of a pandemic where about 90% of the population pretends as if there were like forever lockdowns, you know, like it was like in Fallout 3 or some shit, like we just all arrived out of the vault like a year ago. We were locked down for several years. Does anyone remember when people thought that there were vaccine mandates? Does anyone remember this? People actually believe it. Like, you know, think about the Mandela effect. What is the Mandela effect, right? It's where people like misremember something in their past. People actually think we had lockdowns in the United States. People actually, like, this is a fact, right? To them, this is like my car in the garage is red. This is like my son's name is Jacob, right? This is a matter of fact to them. They actually believe that we lived in a country in the United States that had a vaccine mandate. We did not. Joe Biden said vaccinate or test. And the tests were free. So vaccinate or don't. It's not a mandate, right? But again, we live in a world where people just don't understand reality. They just can't fucking figure it out, right? And we may now have some interesting news as to why that seems to be accelerating. Beyond the lungs, SARS-CoV-2's multi-organ impact revealed. So again, this is a new medical study. So factor this in, right? You know, this is a field I've covered multiple different studies on how COVID affects the brain. COVID causes your brain cells to fuse together to create like unactive masses in your brain of just like dead neurons, essentially. They're not able to be used. They're technically living cells, right? But they're just not able to be like used in brain processing because they're all fucked up. And now we've got some more information on what that is, as well as some other interesting stuff. Several severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2 epidemic waves have occurred. SARS-CoV-2 has evolved with great transmissibility and immunological evasiveness from the ancestral Wuhan Hu-1 strain to the Omicron variant. And then also a reminder, the CDC and the WHO conspired together to stop naming the new variants, right? When people think Omicron, they think, oh, that was so long ago, when it's not, right? They just stopped naming them. They, instead of naming it like Omicron and like, you know, like whatever the fuck, like Echo Zabaraga, or like, you know, like whatever, like these stupid fucking Greek letter alphabet, whatever, like Sigma variant, right? The Kraken variant, right? Right, they just named it like BA7593949, right? And the average person just like doesn't care about that because they're dumb. The average person is stupid. They've probably been infected with multiple infections of COVID, so they're even dumber than they were before the pandemic, right? So again, factor that in. It's part of the cover-up. Long COVID can result in persistent symptoms such as tiredness, frequent headaches, breathlessness, motor dysfunction and concentration, and memory difficulties. Whoa! Memory difficulties. Wait, so you're telling me there's a pandemic, 3 years into the pandemic, people think that there was a vaccine mandate that never happened. People think that there was a mask mandate that never happened. People think that there was a lockdown that never happened. And now we're finding out that COVID affects your memory. Is that a coincidence? About the review. In the present review, researchers present the mechanisms by which SARS-CoV-2 can infect the brain and affect memory. They also discuss long COVID risk factors and prevention strategies. SARS-CoV-2 infects the human brain and affects human memory, facilitated by host receptors. Now, again, I just want to say all of this, right? There are two things. There are two branch points. Get the flow chart out, right? When you get infected with COVID, there are two things you can do. One, research. Know how it affects your body. Try your best to prevent the negative health outcomes. If you are aware that COVID affects your brain, you can do things to try to mitigate that. such as rest, drink water, maybe do a crossword puzzle or two, right? Kind of try to keep your brain exercise, but also rest your body so that COVID has a chance to be eliminated by your immune system rather than going to work and then just living in a parasitic relationship with the virus inside of you for months and months and months. What happens if you get sick and you don't rest? Your immune system is at a disadvantage, and it can sometimes lose the battle, right? So again, awareness is the first step to all of this. But again, most people don't know this kind of shit. Why? Because they're dumb and the government covered up information and the people in this country are too fucking stupid and selfish to actually look things up. How do you think I know this? I look it up. You're telling me dumb motherfuckers are in year 4 of a pandemic and they've never looked up what COVID does? Are they fucking stupid? Well, yes, 90% of Americans are fucking dumb. They're dumb. And this is, again, the through line that I need everyone to understand. This is like the number one takeaway of my show, what I do, what my philosophy, if you will, is about. 90% is the floor. Americans are dumb. They're dumb motherfuckers. So before the pandemic, 90% of the country were dumb motherfuckers. And we know that this virus that we're still in the pandemic for affects the brain. It's only going to get worse. So I want, think about it, right? If you have a memory that is actually functioning, do you remember people being this stupid 10 years ago? Just think about it, right? I mean, again, people were stupid forever. People have always been stupid, but just think. The degree of stupidity, right? How dumb the dummies are, how loud the dummies are, and how many dummies are. Quality and quantity. Right, think about it. 10 years ago. I mean, again, there's a lot of dummies, but just think 10 years ago versus now. There's so many more motherfucking dummies, okay? So, I don't know what to tell you. All I know is if we're in a pandemic, 96% of people were infected with this because the government gave up and they're all too stupid to do anything about it on a personal level, right? And we know it affects the brain, and we know everyone is already dumb, and now they're getting even dumber, and now the tools for them to get out of being dumb and actually learn and educate are being further restricted. You know what I mean, right? So it's a little strange. Long-term COVID-19 patients may develop latent cognitive deficits with dementia. I read a case, a 27-year-old, by the way, for those wondering, I'm 27. A 27-year-old got diagnosed with acute dementia after being infected with COVID 2 or 3 times. Now again, hey, that's an exception maybe, that's an outlier, but I'm thinking to myself, yo, I got a family history of brain disease. There's a pandemic going on, and maybe I have a high risk factor because I have a family history of brain disease, so maybe if COVID affected my brain, I would be one of those people. Or, I don't know, maybe I'd get early onset dementia when I'm 29, when I'm 31. I don't want that fucking shit. I want to live. I want to live a long life, okay? And I guess apparently Americans don't. Americans would rather kill themselves and each other and everyone around them than live a long and healthy life. Americans are so fucking stupid, they'll have kids and then kill themselves before their kids are even able to take care of them in the nursing homes. Americans are way too fucking dumb for this shit. Americans are so stupid, they'll have kids and then purposefully try to put themselves in a position where they're dead before their grandkids are even born. Do you motherfuckers want to see your kids graduate high school? Do you motherfuckers want to see your kids fucking have their own kids? Do you motherfuckers want to see your fucking grandchild graduate high school? Apparently not, based on the behavior that I'm witnessing in this country. And I say this as someone who doesn't want children. I don't want to see my grandkids doing anything. I don't want fucking grandkids, okay, motherfucker? Ew, right? But again, I don't know, most people, right? If you ask most people, what do you want to do before you die? You'd think, oh, see my grandkid graduate college or some shit would be on that list, right? But actions speak louder than words. Words, I want to see my grandchild graduate college or high school. Actions, I'm going to get repeatedly infected with a disease that destroys my brain and my immune system, as well as eating junk food and processed garbage so that I die when I'm 49, right? So, right? Can you make it make sense? And then, I don't know, man, then when you realize, oh, these people, their brains are literally destroyed. Their brains were destroyed from the inside out. So maybe it makes a lot more sense, right? Right? SARS-CoV-2 may infect the nasal passages and transmit directly into the brain's olfactory bulb via the olfactory nerves. SARS-CoV-2 infection in the respiratory tract with high viral titers, on the other hand, might produce considerable pathological alterations, allowing the virus to penetrate the circulatory system. What that means is COVID is in your blood. When COVID gets in your blood, what happens after that? Where does your blood go? Does anyone know? Does anyone want a quick biology lesson? Does anyone know? Where does your circulatory system lead to? Oh, I know. Pick me. Pick me, teacher. Oh, every organ in your body. Literally. That's what your blood is for. It flows throughout your entire body. So when COVID gets in your bloodstream, it can just jump out. Oh, I'm going to go to the liver. Yo, let's go. Let's hang out at the liver. The liver's like the nightclub in the human body. Right? Fuck, it's 4 a.m. Where are we going to go? We're going to go home, buddy. The lungs. Let's go back to the lungs. We got to take a nap, buddy. Let's go back to the lungs. Right now, they wake up. They're hungover. They got to go to work. Where are they going to work? To the heart, my man. We got to fucking pump that COVID into the heart muscles, my brother. Right? And so, okay, well, what are we doing after work? Well, we went to the club last night. Let's do something else. Let's go catch a movie. Where are the movies screened? In the brain, right? This is, again, when COVID hijacks your motherfucking bloodstream, it's everywhere, motherfucker. Do people really not understand this? Like, I don't know. I'm a high school dropout, and I understand what the circulatory system is. You know what I mean? Like, right? Like, I just like, what is going on in this country? Allowing the virus to penetrate the circulatory system and disseminate to other organs, aided by angiotensin converting enzyme 2 ACE2 production by different cell types. SARS-CoV-2 might also infect the eyes and proceed to the occipital brain via the optic nerve. A lot of these words, by the way, I don't say out loud too often, so, you know, just bear with me. I didn't go to college here. I read. I don't fucking say everything out loud when I read, so just bear the fuck with me. SARS-CoV-2 can break the tight connections between the blood-brain barrier, BBB, and intracellular cargo, allowing it to infiltrate different organs. Persistent SARS-CoV-2 replication and SARS-CoV-2 spike protein host ACE2 receptor interactions might lead to syncytia development and increase cytokine and auto-antibody synthesis, thereby affecting brain function and memory in the long run. Again, what is auto-antibody, right? Auto means self. Antibody means, again, your immune system. Your immune system is fighting you instead of COVID. Ho! Isn't that great? You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Do you really need to be a doctor to understand that this shit is not good? Like, I'm not a doctor. I didn't go to medical school. I'm reading this shit and I'm like, I'm staying the fuck home. But most Americans read this shit and they go like, let's go to Thanksgiving. Let's go to the club. Let's go to the movies. Hey, let's go to Pride and give all the people my COVID. Woo! Woo! Let's go to the museum. As if Americans are going to museums, am I right? Let's go to Taylor Swift, everybody. Let's go to Taylor Swift. Get some COVID. Woo! Why? Well, for their mental health, right? That's what, when you ask someone why they decided to get repeatedly infected with a brain-destroying disease, they go, 'cause my mental health. My mental health. Y'all, my mental health is at risk sitting down and being a sick, or rather being an unsick individual. You know, my mental health. What does that mean? They're afraid to sit with themselves and their own thoughts. They need an escape from themselves. That's what they mean by my mental health. If you actually gave a fuck about your mental health, you know what you'd do? You'd sit in bed and meditate for 16 hours and work on your own shit. You wouldn't be going to the club and getting a virus, coming home and infecting your children and your grandmother. What the fuck? Are you dumb? Are you a dumb motherfucker? on the list of dumb motherfuckers, where are you? Can you point to yourself? Can you find yourself on this list? It's like, where's Waldo with dumb motherfuckers? Point yourself out. Persistent SARS-CoV-2 I already read that. ACE2, a crucial receptor for SARS-CoV-2 to infiltrate the host, is expressed in various tissues, including the lungs, liver, heart, kidney, brain, and gut. The cluster of differentiation, the tyrosine protein kinase receptor UFO. I love UFOs, my good friends. Neuropilin and C-type lectins are potential SARS-CoV-2 receptors that are expressed in various cell types. Basically what it's saying is there's receptors in various different spots, especially your brain, that COVID can very snugly fit into. Right? It's like, you ever get like a weighted blanket, you know, and you just wrap yourself in a weighted blanket, you get into the fetal position and you're just comfy as fuck? That is COVID in your fucking brain. That motherfucker's comfy as hell. So you can read more of this. This is about prevention, right? Infection with SARS-CoV-2 could result in immunological disorders and cause cellular death. I got hair in my mouth. Which are direct sources of long-term influences in the body's tissues. SARS-CoV-2 may stimulate the immunological system, enabling it to release cytokines and cause cell lysis. Dysregulated cytokine production can result in cytokine storms, leading to serious illness that increase COVID symptoms. SARS-CoV-2 spike protein fusion with cells of the host can result in hyperimmune reactions, cell death, and prolonged symptoms after SARS-CoV-2 recovery. Autoantibodies to type 1 interferon, IFN, enhance the chances of developing severe SARS-CoV-2 infections resulting blah blah blah. Persistent COVID-19 rather, can stimulate host immune system reactions in SARS-CoV-2 protein blah blah blah. So what they're basically saying, right, is you gotta rest, right? That's essentially what this is saying, right? Like, I'm here to translate this fucking hoopla into something. If you get infected, you rest. Why do you think the CDC slashed? Remember December of 2021 when the CDC met with the Delta Airlines CEO and then like 2 days later said, all right, guys, 10-day quarantine, isolation, resting period, and we don't need that anymore? Step 1, the CDC meets with Delta Airlines CEO. Step 2, don't rest when you get COVID, guys, go back to work. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool, man? Isn't that pretty neat? Isn't that just cool? Isn't that just like jolly? You know, you ever hear this shit and you're going like, damn, that is awesome. And yet again, most Americans, they're fine with this because they're dumb. They're dumb. I need you to understand, if you are comfortable getting COVID and giving COVID to your family, your kids, your parents, your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, your friends, if you're comfortable infecting people with this virus, you're a psychopath, but above all else, you're dumb. You're a stupid fucking person, right? You don't really have any value to contribute to society other than spreading the zombie apocalypse. So when we all wonder, why is the world getting so dumb? Why do people believe things that are patently false? Well, when 96% of the population got a virus that destroys your brain, it really starts to fill in a lot of the blanks. So, take that information in whatever way you choose. How's everyone doing? Glam Girl says, if I hate you, I wouldn't want you to get COVID. I don't know if I'd go that far, Glam Girl. If I hate someone. Hey, think about it. It's legal. Think about this. It is legal in this country to infect someone with a deadly disease that causes a lifelong debilitating disorder. That's totally legal. Like, if I punch someone in the face and they get a bruise, or a bloody nose that will heal in 2 weeks or 6 weeks, you know? That's illegal. I go to jail. If I give someone a bloody nose that fixes itself in like a month, that's illegal. If I give someone a lifelong debilitating disorder, totally legal, right? Because we live in La La Land. We live in stupid fuckville. Oh, man. I got 96 Twitter notifications, and I've been doing my show for 30 minutes, man. What the fuck? Y'all, I'm trying to get monetized on my Doom channel. I haven't been playing much Doom recently. But, you know, we'll get back to it. I'm taking a couple weeks off. But help me out if you want. Feel free to unring the bell. Turn all the notifications off. I don't care. I'm trying to get monetized. Help me out. Think of it as a free donation, right? You subscribe, right? And you spend $0 and I get dollars, right? So think about it that way. I've been taking a break from Doom a little bit. I've been playing some Fallout New Vegas. To all the gamers out there, shout outs to the gamers, capital G. Been playing some Fallout New Vegas for the second time. I played it around when it came out, you know, when I was a teenager, whenever that was. I forget what time period that was, to be honest with you. That's a long time ago. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to play some Fallout New Vegas again. Because I've been thinking, like, you know, I've been making a lot of Fallout references, you know, talking about COVID. So I was like, you know what, it's been a long enough time. Let's play some Fallout. So, to all the Fallout fans, there you go. Ultralight J. I played myhouse.wad before it was cool, man. You know, the original My House. The one from 1995. Yeah, that one. That's my favorite. All right. Is it hot outside near you? Are you thinking to yourself, why the fuck is it so goddamn hot? Well, the answer is your parents, assuming like you're under the age of 40 or 50, I guess, and their entire generation are a bunch of fucked up motherfuckers. That's the reason. And now you have to deal with, you know, Earth sees third straight hottest day on the record, though it's unofficial. Oh, everything's fine. It's unofficial. Don't worry, guys. It's unofficial. Fucking pop-ups. This is from CBS. Earth's average temperature remained at a record high Wednesday after 2 days in which the planet reached unofficial records. Don't worry, guys, it's unofficial. Let's cope. It's the latest marker in a series of climate change-driven extremes. The average global temperature was 62.9 degrees, according to the University of Maine's Climate Reanalyzer, a tool that uses satellite data and computer simulations to measure the world's condition, that matched a record set Tuesday and came after a previous record of 62.6 on Monday. But don't worry, guys. Don't believe your lying eyes. These motherfuckers, Democrats, Republicans, independents, are still going around there pretending climate change isn't real. Don't believe your lying eyes. You see something, that means it can't be true. If it's hot outside, well, it's just an anomaly. We've just had 20 anomalies every year in a row. It's just an anomaly. It's a once-in-a-century heat wave every year. Every week is a once-in-a-century heat wave. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry, guys. Woo! Climate change ain't real, everybody. Woo! It's once in a century. Every other day. Dumb motherfuckers. Not only that, but last month was the world's hottest June since records have been kept. The European Union's climate monitoring service said, according to Agence France Presse, the month was the warmest June globally, exceeding June 2019, the previous record, by a substantial margin. The EU Monitor said in a statement from its C3S Climate Union. Isn't that a little interesting? But don't worry, guys, it's all a coincidence. It's all a coincidence. You know, one of the biggest lies, and generally speaking, I hate being lied to. I hate when motherfuckers are trying to deceive me, right? But one of the biggest lies that I think we're all taught from a young age is that the adults are adults. Like, there's some magical property, like when you turn 18, or when you turn 26, or when you have your first kid, or when you get your first, like, some magical moment when people turn from toddlers and children into the magical adults in the room that have everyone's best interest in mind. This is one of the biggest lies they teach you as a kid. And then you keep getting older. And then you become 18 and you go, I don't feel any different. And then you become 26. Your brain's done developing now. I don't feel any different. And then you realize that everyone in the world has that same, you know, they feel it. What I'm saying is, our adults in the room are actually toddlers. They're actually a bunch of kids, mentally speaking, emotionally speaking. Okay? Now, we live in a traumatized country. I'm going to go on a little sidebar, but bear with me. Trauma in this country is normalized. It's so normalized that when you tell people you have trauma, they'll tell you it's not trauma because they went through the same thing. You ever see this? Well, my parents used to beat me too, and I don't wallow in it. Sure about that, Jack? When people get traumatized, what happens to the brain when someone is traumatized? Parts of the brain freeze, especially emotional development. It freezes, right? If you were a young child and you were beaten senseless by your parents when you were 5, 6 years old, right? Parts of your emotional development get stuck at 5 or 6 years old. That's what happens. That's one of the side effects of trauma. Now, does that mean it's unhealable? No. Obviously, you can heal trauma by working through it. By talking to that 5-year-old self inside of you and telling them it's okay. Telling them, you know, there was no other option. But they're better now. Everything will be fine. Because your 5-year-old self doesn't know that your 20-year-old self or your 25-year-old self can escape the torture in hell. Right? But most people don't even know that the 5-year-old self or whatever, 10-year-old, you know, everyone gets traumatized at a different age. They don't know that that's inside of them. Right? And what happens is, this is terminology that people use with DID, is the terminology of different personalities fronting. Fronting. What does that mean? Well, that means a person can have multiple personalities inside of them, but one of them is, you know, taking control, if you will, of the day-to-day. Who's interacting with the people in the physical world, right? But what most people don't understand is when they become emotional, that 5-year-old inside of them, that 14-year-old that inside of them, whoever it is, they start fronting. You ever see adults just melt the fuck down over, like, basic shit? You ever see this happen? Like, adults just start screaming and hollering over shit that doesn't matter? When that happens, right, what's going on in the brain is they were traumatized as a kid. Their emotional development in a certain spot froze at a certain age. When that emotional circuit is triggered in the brain, that 10-year-old or whatever inside of them starts fronting. They take over. They start leading the charge. And that's why you see adults have temper tantrums. Because they're literally, and again, I say this with all due respect, they're literally 10 years old. Can you really be mad at a 9-year-old for crying and hollering like a baby? Can you really? I mean, they're 9 years old. I mean, shit happens, right? But when someone is like 7 years old and they have a temper tantrum and their parents beat them as a response, what they realize is they cannot express their true feelings, and that's what freezes their emotional development. And then they become adults, and then they get to be the ones who beat their children, and the cycles of abuse continue. Now, why am I talking about this when it comes to climate change? Right? How the fuck did I get here? Well, I got here because, again, the adults in the room are actually babies. They're actually little kids. And when you understand that your grandma is a 6-year-old and that your fucking stepdad is 9 years old, when you really start to understand this, right? When people make decisions based on emotions that stopped developing when they were a child, the fact that we let climate change get this far makes a lot more sense. Because the adults in the room, they're not adults. They're adults in age only. So what are we going to do about it? I don't know. Probably nothing. You know, food for thought. There you go. Anyway, you're not going to see that kind of shit elsewhere. Talking about climate change and fucking PTSD in the same segment, man. How do I even do it? How is it even possible? All right. Don't worry, guys. We're going to get into Dumb Bitch Hour any minute now. 10 minutes to go until Dumb Bitch Hour. All right? So just fucking hold your fucking phone, all right? Get that death grip, right? And, ooh. Okay, hold your shit. I'm sorry to hear that, Retro Boomer. I don't mean to re-trigger you or anything. So meanwhile, the Trumpers are at it again, everybody. January 6th defendant who cased Obama's neighborhood made week-long series of threats. What? Say that again? January 6th defendant who cased Obama's neighborhood made week-long series of threats. A man arrested last week for breaching the Capitol on January 6th. What are we talking about? Jay Johnston? Is he back for more? Motherfucker. On the Capitol on January 6th, drove a van full of weapons to Barack Obama's neighborhood before his June 30 arrests, appearing to target the former president's home after a Truth Social post from Donald Trump that identified the Obama family's Kalorama address, prosecutors said. So Donald Trump tweets out Obama's fucking address, and then his fanboys, who are currently, like, on, like, you know, they're in a legal case on January 6th, right? But maybe they're out on bail or whatever. So the Donald Trump fanboys, and you know what? I gotta tell you, whatever happened, real quick sidebar, whatever happened to the term fanboy? Because that shit apparently disappeared. I'm bringing fanboy back. These aren't Donald Trump sycophants. These aren't Donald Trump drones. These are Donald Trump fanboys. This is like a 13-year-old who just got like a fucking like Green Day poster for the first time. You know what I mean? And they're just like, they're geeking out. Okay? These are fanboys. Fanboy is a gender neutral term, by the way. Just throwing that out there. Taylor Taranto used his own Truth Social account to repost the address. Very smart of this man. Prosecutors wrote in court papers filed Wednesday. On Telegram, Taranto then stated, "We've got these losers surrounded. See you in hell, Podestas and Obamas." Yo, what the fuck? These motherfuckers are obsessed with Podesta. I haven't heard that goddamn guy's name in a long time. But these motherfuckers, they're thinking about every day. They're looping on that shit. Motherfucking Podesta, man. We gotta get him. Like, what the fuck? Shortly thereafter, Taranto again began live streaming from his van on his YouTube channel. Yo, again, I'm telling you, these motherfuckers are dumb as shit. So you got a van full of guns, and you're stalking the former president, and you're like, let's go live on YouTube. Like, yo,
Only the really, I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ.
So this guy is like, okay, hear me out. I'm right outside the president's house. I got a bunch of guns. Let's go live on YouTube first. Yo. This is nope. You're not getting me that easily. You're not getting me that easily, man. Holy shit, man. Holy fuck. It's too much. Taylor Taranto's June 29 arrest after a foot pursuit near Rock Creek Parkway capped a week-long period in which his erratic and menacing behavior escalated the urgency from law enforcement to find him. It was only after he entered Obama's Secret Service protected neighborhood that officials were able to track his movements closely. Taranto, speaking on a live stream, discussed finding an entrance to...
Only the really, I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ.
In the days prior to his arrest, Taranto had broadcast threats to blow up the National Institute of Standards and Technology. What? What? Warned Speaker Kevin McCarthy that he can't stop what's coming. Yeah, Kevin McCarthy totally got that warning. And entered an elementary school near the Maryland home of Representative Jamie Raskin while live streaming a parent threat. Now I'm telling you, I think cops are useless. Exhibit B. This motherfucker, right, broke into an elementary school with his phone and was like, "We're gonna get Raskin. We're gonna get him, guys." As he's wandering through the halls of like the second grade wing. And the cops didn't get him then. The cops are like, "Oh, that's totally normal." And they waited until he like was outside Obama's house and told everyone, "All right, I found the secret entrance." Like, yo, I mean, come on. Come on. Taranto had been living out of a van for 2 months before his arrest, traveling from his home state of Washington to the nation's capital. From Washington to Washington. One man's journey. And there you go. Prosecutors say after reports that McCarthy had pledged to provide access to January 6th security footage to those charged in the attack, Taranto had called McCarthy's office on June 27, according to the Justice Department, blah, blah, blah. The filing paints a remarkable picture of a man addled by conspiracy theories, blah, blah, blah. You can read the rest of this. It doesn't really matter. It just goes into this guy's fucking personal mental illness. But it's like... I mean, I'm talking to the cops out there. Like, I know y'all, like, are under fire, right? Yeah, your reputation is at stake. But, I mean, if someone is wandering through the halls of an elementary school, live streaming themselves, threatening to kill a member of Congress, I don't know. Personally, I feel like that is the moment where you should probably intervene. I feel like, you know, and again, I don't support cops. I don't support law enforcement. But I'm like... I don't know, man. If like we got them, we got cops, right? They exist. Maybe we should be using the cops on the guys wandering through the fucking halls of the second grade classroom wing, talking about killing a member of Congress. Maybe I don't know. Maybe that's when, right? The cop, like, because according to them, the cops have been like, you know, they've been tracking this guy for a while, right? So it's like, hey, just an idea. Next time someone goes into the fucking elementary school and starts talking about killing, I don't know why they're in it. Who knows, right? Maybe then you can bring the guys in, right? Think about it. But I also know this. Cops are afraid to go inside of schools. So, makes a lot of sense when you think about it. Lil bro is a van life incel. Dude, don't fucking knock the van life. Right? Don't knock the van life. This guy's living his best life, you know, walking in and out of elementary schools, you know, like, what the fuck? You know, the CDC is trending on Twitter. Oh, so is Sylvester Stallone. What's he up to? Let's see what old Sylvester is up to. Oh, it's his birthday. There you go. Oh, Celsius is trending. No, it's the fucking crypto company. Cringe. Alright, anyway, y'all ready to jump into the dumb bitch hour? Folks, it's 11 o'clock. It's goddamn dumb bitch hour. It's dumb bitch hour. You ready for this shit, man? Raise your hand if you're ready for dumb bitch hour. I know. On some other shows, some other shows, they might call it the fun half, right? You ever hear this? Some people refer to it as the fun half. I don't do the fun half on my show. We do dumb bitch hour on my show, okay? We're a little bit more forthcoming with what our intentions are. This is dumb bitch hour, everybody. I gotta get like the scrolling, like, you know, I gotta get like a scene transition where like, ooh, and then it's like, boom, dumb bitch hour, and then I fade back in, you know what I mean? But anyway, dumb bitch hour, folks. Welcome. So I want to talk about this one real quick. I'm going to start here because I'm just having fun, okay? To me, this is the most entertaining thing in the world. When really stupid people find out about me and interact with me or interact about me in any way, I love it. Now, you can call me an attention whore. You can call me a clout chaser if you want. Anyone who knows me knows that I don't actually chase clout, right? But if you don't know me, I can see whatever, right? But over the last couple days, I've been kind of going in a lot of Twitter spaces. A lot of people have been talking about me. And there are two people in particular that had a very interesting interaction that I think is just, I think it's great. I think, like, I see this shit. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I saw this last night and I was laughing so hard, right? That, like, people were waking up around me, right? Like Like, Max was like, what the fuck are you doing, right? Like, why are you making so much noise? It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't help myself. What am I going to be talking about? We're going to be talking about Destiny and Shoe on Head. So I made this tweet about Anna Kasparian. And Destiny says, proving everything Anna says right in a single tweet. Now, for context, Destiny invited me on his show. I bodied that dumb motherfucker. He got owned so hard that he quit the stream and didn't invite me back on. He said he would invite me back on. I said, sure, whatever. Right? I was owning him. He mysteriously had his power go out, and then he didn't invite me back on. So the guy's a total pussy. He's a beta male. But then we have Shoe on Head. Now, Shoe on Head says something like, I'm not going to lie to y'all, okay? I'm loving this shit, okay? This is great. This is like, I'm trying to, like, come up with some sort of analogy to tell you how much I love this shit. But this is like heroin to me. Right? Like, when I see this shit, now, you've already read it, right? So, Shoe on Head. Now, by the way, real quick, Shoe on Head blocked me years ago because I told her that vegetables are healthy. She was doing this whole, like, meat is healthy for you thing, and I said, so are vegetables, and she blocked me, right? So, factor that in. But Shoe on Head said, I miss, like, 60 years ago when these types of people were just serial killers instead of doing whatever this is every single day. Now, yo, okay, so first of all, every single day, like, anyone who knows me knows that I have not really used Twitter, like, at all this whole year. I'm not a fan of Twitter, right? I don't like Twitter. If you follow me, you know I don't like social media. I don't go on social media, but every once in a while I do when I have a purpose. When I have a reason to use social media, I'll use social media. But I don't use Twitter every single day. Like, this is like the first couple days of the whole year I've actually used Twitter extensively. Now, that's the first point, okay? The second point is, this bitch, this dumbass bitch, called me a serial killer because I said a naughty word. Like, whatever happened to free speech, man? Like, whatever happened to, like, the trigger the libs mentality that these motherfuckers, that Destiny and Shoe on Head made their careers on? We're gonna trigger the libs. We're gonna trigger the libs. We're gonna trigger the libs. Now, when I call someone a stupid bitch or a fuckhead, this moron is calling me a serial killer. Like, I mean, yo, and again, I love hyperbole, don't get me wrong. I love hyperbole. But, like, wow, man, I was fucking laughing my ass off. And then it's also, like, Shoe on Head, who, by the way, is not 60 plus years old. So she misses 60 years ago? What? And again, I just, like, these types of people, what does that mean? Me. Like, what type of person am I? Someone that uses bad words? That's what type of person I am? Someone that uses bad words. So, someone that uses bad words 60 years ago would be a serial killer? Now, I don't say this lightly, but
only the really, I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ. I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ, but those with the lowest IQ, but those with the lowest IQ, but those with the lowest IQ.
Now, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Again, I love hyperbole. Don't get me wrong. I love bad words. I love hyperbole. Right? But, like, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you, okay? And the reason why I'm not laughing here is because I was laughing for, like, an hour straight last night. I got it out of my system. But it's like, this bitch, I mean, I'm telling you, this bitch called me a serial killer because I called someone a fuckhead. Step 1, you're a fuckhead. Step 2, 60 years ago, you would have been a serial killer. I mean, this is what, like, again, every year or so, every once in a while, I like to just jump into this, like, mainstream internet fucking stupid, like, F-tier, like F-list celebrity internet, like, cringe lord poster, like, section of the internet. every once in a while I like to step in it. It's like I go to the zoo. Like, this is for me, is I go to the zoo, the petting zoo, and I just kind of like, you know, I'll pet the goats, I'll feed, you know, some of the animals some peanuts, whatever, and then I go back to doing what I'm doing. But like, man, oh man, like, again, every time I interact with these people, like, Shuan had blocked me years ago, but like, Blair White also, by the way, the chat's talking about Blair White, she blocked me years ago. Whenever I talk about or to these people, like, and it's every once in a while, they just get dumber and dumber, man. Like, saying bad words is equivalent to being a serial killer? Okay. Alright. Okay, I mean, you're totally not triggered. You're totally not a tone cop. You're totally not a little baby. Like, when the fuck did right-wingers, by the way, get so afraid of bad words? Like, because I feel like this is like we're reverting back. Like, we're talking about, like, Shuan Ed's talking about 60 years ago. Right? She's talking about 60 years ago. What was going on 60 years ago? Right? Like, 60 years ago, you know, we have motherfuckers like George Carlin going out there saying bad words and getting Supreme Court cases about him, censoring words, right? Right-wingers hated bad words 60 years ago. But then in the middle, right, then the internet comes out, and right-wingers are like, N-word, 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 N-word. Are you triggered yet? Are you triggered yet? N-word, N-word, N-word. They're just spamming slurs, spamming bad words. Look at these guys. And then they're like, whenever you criticize them, my free speech, my free speech, my free speech, my free speech. And now these same motherfuckers have reverted. They've returned to monk. And now they hate bad words again. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, I'm just like, I'm trying to, like, when did bad words start hurting these people, these grown adults? When did grown adults get so triggered by bad fucking words? Like, I'm just trying to, I'm curious. Like, and this is to all the right-wingers that are currently watching, because I know there's a couple. When did you become such fucking thin-skinned pussies, man? Like, 10 years ago, I think, you know that, like, meme with the fucking, like, little dog and then the big, like, muscular dog? Like, 10 years ago, right-wingers were like the big, muscular Chad dog saying, like, yeah, I just said the N-word, what are you gonna do about it? Nowadays, right-wingers are like, oh my god, he called me a fuckhead! Like, what happened to you people? This is sad. And I feel bad for you motherfuckers, man. Holy shitballs. But we're just getting started on Dumb Bitch Hour, folks. We got more? God, these people, man. Holy shit. By the way, again, I am going to go on the Lilo and Stitch show on the 18th. So, that should be fun. If anyone wants to watch that or whatever, that's going to happen, apparently. Unless they disinvite me. Because we all know a bunch of triggered right-wingers. I've been disinvited from so many shows. Right-wing shows, left-wing shows. They all fucking hate me. So who knows? But, my God, man. These little fucking babies have no idea what's coming. Alright. So, I'm trying to think about how to start this one. So just give me a second here. I gotta get my pen so that I look like I'm serious, right? All right. I want to start this segment by playing a clip that I have here. I got this clip. and it's an interesting one. I want to play it for you.
Look, I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I'm a little scared like I'm afraid of like talking to people who are outside of my race because
that is TYT host Anna, in quotations, the dumbass bitch, end quotations, Kasparian, TYT host, going on a right-wing show called the Lilo and Stitch Show that has like a VTuber and like some failed comedian, talking about how she's afraid to talk to people outside of her race. She's afraid. Like, now, I'm going to tell you this as a white person, and I will tell you this as well. I'm a white person who has been criticized by black people for my actions in the past. And you know what I've done? I've gone, let me think about this for a second. They're right. Anna Kasparian learns the opposite lesson, right? She learns, I said something a little insensitive. Well, now I'm just going to stop talking to black people. That's Anna Kasparian's learned lesson. Home of progressives, by the way. So, Anna Kasparian has been under fire. I'd like to say I've been leading the charge. I don't know if I've been leading the charge, but I'm trying to shift the Overton window here. If I'm going to be honest with you, the blueprint that I am following is the Michael Brooks blueprint on Dave Rubin. I'm just going to be honest with you. This is the approach I'm taking. You can take that information as you will. Anna Kasparian and Dave Rubin are identically stupid. They are both dumb, historically illiterate, self-righteous, self-important, uppity little pricks. Add Jimmy Dore to that list. This is the modern day dumb left. Because Dave Rubin and Jimmy Dore, they're just right-wingers now. So there is no such thing as the dumb left anymore. So Anna Kasparian, she is taking that charge and she is leading with it. And so Anna Kasparian has been under fire to the point where she feels the need to respond on the Young Turks show. So what is she responding to? She is responding to going on the Lilo and Stitch show and defending conversion therapy advocates. Conversion therapy. She's defending conversion therapy advocates, saying that they're great people and they care so much. Now, what also happened? Well, over the last couple of weeks, and this has been brewing, it's been brewing for months. You know, the unhoused people are all shit, defund the police, go fuck yourselves, I'm afraid to talk to black people, trans people are all men, whatever. Right? She's going on right-wing shows, defending conversion therapy advocates, saying she's afraid to talk to non-white people. And eventually, the only transgender, to my understanding, the only transgender contributor to the Young Turks, Benny Carallo, left. She basically said, I can't fucking take this shit anymore. I'm not working for people that hate me and that are personally transphobic against me. So she rightfully left the Young Turks. Now again, I say everyone subscribe to Benny Carallo. Give her money if you can. Switch your TYT subscription to her if you can. Right? Because she is doing something actionable. Unlike some of the other TYT hosts, and I'm going to be getting in to the other TYT hosts, because John Idarola made a statement that was fueled with beta energy, and that's going to be what I'm going to cover next. But first, I want to get to Anna's statement, because this is some really funny ass shit, man. And let's go.
So I want to address that. So during an interview over the weekend, I mentioned how I think the discourse that the country is currently engaged in regard to race relations has actually led to more racial division.
Now, when she says that on the Young Turks to her supposedly progressive audience, right? What is this race what is she talking about? She's talking about this. Whoops, that's the wrong one. I pressed the wrong file. She's talking about this.
Look, I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I'm a little scared I'm afraid of talking to people who are outside of my race because
So she said that. And people are like, whoa, bitch, what the fuck? And then this is how she sanitizes. Right, quote, I'm afraid to talk to people outside of my race. And this is how she sanitizes it.
So I want to address that. So during an interview over the weekend, I mentioned how I think the discourse that the country is currently engaged in regard to race relations has actually led to more racial division.
Yo, I mean, again, you can't make it up. I mean, I'm sorry, man. Like, I'm just gonna play it again.
Scared or like, I'm afraid of like talking to people who are outside of my race because
I'm gonna play it again. Okay, I'm gonna play it one more time. Bear with me.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I'm a little scared or like, I'm afraid of like talking to people who are outside of my race because I'm afraid of like talking to people who are outside of my race because I'm afraid of like talking to people who are outside of my race because
now, I want you all to fucking figure this shit out in your head for a moment. How are you gonna go on the Lilo and Stitch show, say that fucking shit, and then go on your Home of Progressive show? By the way, I love this. Get progressive merch at Shop TYT. I love it, man. I love it. Like, you can't make this up, man. So she said, I'm afraid to talk to non-white people. And now she's like, well, like, I did this show, and it's like, I kind of mentioned that race relations are a little... Now, again, I would like to introduce everyone to Dumb Bitch Hour on my show, because we are right in the middle of Dumb Bitch Hour, okay? Like, dude. Like, I'm sorry, like, I just want to, like, if I accidentally... Because we can only hope and pray it's an accident, right? If I accidentally went on a right-wing show and said, I'm afraid to talk to black people, you know what I wouldn't do? Going back on my progressive show? I wouldn't lie about it. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't lie about it. But let's keep going. So we're 15 seconds in and we've already got some more bangers from Anna, in quotations, the dumb bitch, end quotations. Kasparian?
When we've had now 3 years straight of just brazen white people this, all white people that, Karen this, Karen that, it makes some people, including myself, a little hesitant to talk to individuals using statements like that on a...
Now, again, right? This is how she is sanitizing this clip.
look, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I'm a little scared or like, I'm afraid of like talking to people who are outside of my race because
like, dude, I'm sorry. If some black person calls you whitey on the internet, it's happened to me. I've been called whitey. I've been called a cracker. Oh, dear heavens. I shouldn't have said that on such a public platform. If you get called a whitey on the internet and your response is to say, I'm afraid to talk to non-white people,
only the really, I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ.
get progressive merch at Shop TYT.
Regular basis. I should have been clear in mentioning a specific subgroup who think it's totally fine to say stuff like that.
Now, is she mentioning, she's saying I should have mentioned the specific subgroup. Now, I just want you all to understand. She is not talking about a subgroup. She is not talking about a group at all. She's talking about Olayemi from the leftist mafia. That, when she is saying all of this, she is picturing in her mind Olayemi from the leftist mafia. Because Olayemi basically called her out on her shit and was unapologetic about it. And that traumatized her. A black person unapologetically calling her out on her transphobia traumatized her to such a degree that, like, she's just lost her, like, she's fucking insane. Like, Anna Kasparian has gone insane. Like, let's keep going, though.
That is who I'm referring to. And I think, you know, doesn't take a professional, it doesn't take a tenured psychologist to understand why people would feel hesitant to engage in conversations, open dialogue, when they're constantly reading day in and day out that just the very nature of them being white means that they're racist or hateful or promote white supremacy.
Okay, so are there dumb dummies who think that all white people are racist all the time no matter what? Sure. Just like there's dumb dummies who think that, like, all black people are inherently violent no matter what. There's dumb dummies on every side of the political aisle. But the idea that a dumb dummy saying all white people are racist would make me go on the Lilo and Stitch show and say I'm afraid to talk to non-white people, I mean, wow. Like, I can't imagine. I literally cannot imagine saying something so unhinged and dumb. Like, and I need you to understand, this bitch is dumb. Regardless of her history, regardless of her track record, her progressive track record. Oh my God, I'm so bad. Above all else, the through line, she is very stupid. She is not smart. She's a dummy dumb. That's what she is.
And I would just venture to say that maybe we need to be a little more careful in throwing that word around, racist, because when you accuse people who aren't racist of being racist, the word loses all meaning.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie to you. This is like word for word like a Trump speech. Like, I mean, like, wow, man, like, it's crazy to watch.
I'm now super hesitant to believe accusations of racism toward people until I've done a full look at the story and investigation myself, because it's now used to label anyone who says anything that is considered out of line. Now, if you watch that interview and you decide that I was out of line, that you didn't like what I had to say, and you no longer want to support the show, that is totally your right. But I'm always gonna speak my mind. I'm always gonna say what I actually believe.
But the problem is she doesn't say what she actually believes. She's making this, like, bizarre, like, couched politician statement, because that's what this is. This is a politician. She is a politician. Right? This is what a politician would do. Lie about what you said. Pretend like what you said is not what you said, but what you said was something different that was totally reasonable. It's called the Mott and Bailey. Right? She said some unhinged garbage, saying, I'm afraid to talk to non-white people. Right? And then, when called out on it, she retreats. It's the Mott and Bailey technique. She retreats to the more rational position of, like, well, you know, I think some people call all white people racist, and that's a little absurd. That's not why anyone's calling you out, bitch. That's not why anyone's calling you out. No one's calling you out because you think some people say you're a racist too much. No one cares. Okay? In fact, everyone agrees with you. People are calling you out because you went on a right-wing show and said that you're afraid to talk to non-white people, dude. That's why people are calling you out. People are calling you out because you said some transphobic garbage, and now you're promoting some guy who believes in conversion therapy for trans kids. That's why people are calling you out, but she knows that. She knows that. Like, again, this bitch has been a professional media journalist. She teaches college classes on media literacy. She knows what she's doing. She might be dumb when it comes to general intelligence. She's an airhead. She's a stupid fuck. But when it comes to how to play an audience like a fiddle, she is extremely good at it. That's her entire career. She knows how to manipulate stupid people in her audience. And that's what she's doing here. If you fell for this shit and you're a TYT viewer, you are a stupid motherfucker. Dumber than her, and that's saying something. Let's keep going.
And I do think that the whole Karen narrative, which I did a long segment about just a few weeks ago, has been super toxic. And I think just assuming that people, based on the color of their skin, want to uphold white supremacy in America.
Again, she is talking to a ghost. She's talking to a motherfucking ghost.
It's just flat out wrong. Period. That's what I think. So I wanted to address that.
And we have some more.
And in our Twitch subs, we have Vitengale, who...
Vitengale, where you at? Vitengale, raise your hand. Where are you at right now? You're on the TV, Vitengale. You're on the TV. Get in here.
Is commenting about Benny leaving TYT and says that silence is violence. So since you want me to address it, I will address it. So unfortunately, Benny has decided to leave TYT. I am definitely heartbroken over her decision to do that. I wish that Benny decided to stay here despite our...
Now, I'm gonna put a pin in this one. Okay? I'm gonna put a pin in this one. Okay? We're gonna return to this in a moment. All right? Put a pin in that. We're gonna return to this in one moment. Let's keep going.
In my opinion, incredibly minor differences of opinion that have been...
Minor differences of opinion, such as I'm going to promote debunked conspiracy theories about trans kids. And she is promoting someone who literally is writing articles and articles about how conversion therapy is the only way to treat trans kids. Now, again, we're going to put a pin in the him, I mean her thing. We're going to put a pin in that. I'll get to that at the end because I have a hot take on that, but I want to get to everything else first, okay?
Been blown out of proportion on Twitter with people encouraging Benny to leave TYT.
Now, some people have said that I'm the one she's referring to. Now, again, I don't want to be the main character here, right? I'm not trying to be the main character, though I don't mind if I'm the main character. But I think a lot of other people were jumping in on the Anna's a dumb bitch train. It's not just me. But I would like to say I have gone the hardest at this bitch. I'm just saying that, right? And I get it. It's controversial, right? I've gone hard on Anna because she is a Dave Rubin dummy. And I have no problem with saying that. I'm not offended by bad words. I'm not offended. I don't think that it's immoral to use bad words. Bad words exist, you know, to call bad people bad things. That's why bad words exist. Right? But the idea that Benny Corallo is just like a robot, you know what I mean? A robot who can't make her own decisions and is just being pressured by everyone else in the world. Oh, it's those Twitter extremists. It's those Twitter extremists. Benny is not a rational, free-thinking individual. And now also, again, what is she doing? If you watch, Benny Corallo made a video entitled Why I Left TYT. In that video, nowhere did she say some crazy trans extremist named Andrea was begging me to quit TYT and called Anna a dumb bitch. Nowhere did that happen. Nowhere in that video did she say, you know, some random Twitter extremist named Juniper, you know, was you know, because that's another one that Anna is attacking, is Juniper on Twitter. Nowhere did she say that. What Benny Corallo said is she left TYT because she was on the phone with these people, gave them medical studies, research studies that debunked their fake conspiracy theories. They ignored her and kept promoting conspiracy theories. If you tell a Trumper that Donald Trump lost the 2020 election and they keep saying the opposite, you're not dealing with a rational person who lives in the real world. Right? But she, Anna Kasparian, did not listen to Benny Corallo's video. She doesn't care. She doesn't give a fuck about what Benny has to say. And she is preying upon the audience also not giving a fuck. She hopes that you don't look up Benny Corallo's video entitled Why I Left TYT. She doesn't want you to do it. So she's going to lie about it. She's going to say, it's everyone else. It's everyone else. It's not me. I did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong. Look at me. Look at me. I'm so special. I'm under attack. I did nothing wrong. It's those Twitter extremists.
Benny is now doing her own thing, has her own YouTube channel, had already had her own Twitch channel and all of that. I really, really encourage you guys to go out there and support Benny and the work that she's doing. I think the perspectives that she is sharing with you all is an important perspective. I think that perspective was also incredibly important to have here at TYT. And I'm very sad that she's no longer sharing that perspective here with us. But I have no ill will, no hate, no bad feelings toward Benny whatsoever. I know that she's upset with me. I want to be clear in saying that I've never, ever supported bans on gender affirming care. I am still very much supportive of the transgender community.
Now, why does she say still? We're analyzing what's going on inside of Anna's mind. I want you to replay this. Why does she say the word still?
I want to be clear in saying that I've never, ever supported bans on gender affirming care. I am still very much supportive of the transgender community. My opinions mostly center on tactics in order to garner more support for the trans community. And my art.
This is some fucking white moderate shit out the whim wham. Like, I just want to say, I called Anna Kasparian uppity on Twitter. And the tone police came out in full force. How dare you call someone uppity? You're a misogynist for calling someone uppity. But what Anna Kasparian is saying here is she is saying, you uppity transes don't understand. I want to give you rights so much so that I'm going to shit all over you in public over and over again because I want you to have so many rights. Strategy, bro. Strategy, bro.
Argument in regard to not front-loading and pushing the more fringe elements would probably yield.
The more fringe elements. Now, again, she's not going to define that because she's a stupid bitch who's also a pussy. She's got hardcore beta energy. She's afraid to say what she really thinks on TYT. That's why when she goes on the Lilo and Stitch show, she has no problem saying, yeah, Jesse Singal is great. I love him. By the way, I'm afraid to talk to non-white people. She's got no problem saying that. But on TYT, she's going to be like, well, you see, actually, well, I'm not,
yield better results in securing healthcare, housing, and anti-discrimination laws for the trans community. I get that there's a difference of opinion. I think if you look at my history here at TYT, the countless segments I've done about the
my track record. I just want to ask everyone a question. And this is a hypothetical. Okay? If I started going on my show, if I started going on my show and just started whipping out racist slurs, gay slurs, right? Transphobic slurs, right? If I just started whipping them out, how many get out of jail free cards am I going to get? I'm just curious. Right? Like, so you did one thing that's decent one time, and then you do fucked up shit, and that's okay? Like, I'm just curious. Like, what's my allotment? Right? Like, I'm just like, what is the theory here? What is this philosophy of I did something decent before, which that's questionable whether or not she did that to begin with, so therefore I'm allowed to say fucked up shit how many times? Does she get 3 get out of jail free cards? 5 get out of jail free cards? Like, I'm just curious. I just want to know. For no personal reason.
Transgender community, you will be very well aware that I have absolutely no malice or hatred toward trans people. If anything, again, my opinions really center on tactics and what.
Now, again, I want you to pay attention to this chat here. And you see the chat divided into 2 camps. 2 camps saying trans people are trans people. Trans rights are human rights, right? and the other camp saying, yeah, man, just like, Anna's right, bro. Reality, high five. So what I want you all to understand is that TYT is pulling their liberal audience to the right. They're pulling their liberal audience to the right. Because fanboys, let's be honest, no one likes Anna Kasparian for her philosophy. No one likes Anna Kasparian for her intelligence. Her fanboys are like, oh my god, Anna's so great. Oh, she hates trans people? Well, okay, I guess she's right. Reality, bro. High five. Because they're a bunch of dumb bitches. Dumb bitches beget dumb bitches.
What we should do or what could be done in order to garner the most support. But for anyone who's spreading lies about me, supposedly being a transphobe.
There's one more.
The countless segments I've done about the transgender community, you will be very well aware that I have absolutely no malice or hatred toward trans.
Now note, by the way, on the Lilo and Stitch show, she said, I regret misinforming my audience and I'm going to try to do better, admitting that she lied to her audience in the past. Now, we can have that analysis on whether she actually lied, whatever. But on the Lilo and Stitch show, she goes on there and says, I feel bad for lying to my audience. I'm trying to correct the record. I lied to my audience. I've been lying to my audience for years. That's what she told Lilo and Stitch. Right? And then on here, she's like, my track record. Look at everything I've said. Look at my track record. So is your track record something you stand by, or is your track record something that you regret? Because when you go on right-wing shows, comma, dumb bitch, comma, you talk about your track record trying to throw it in the garbage, trying to start a fresh slate. That's what you tell right-wingers. That everything you said before was a lie, and now you're trying to see the truth. Then you go on your TYT show and say the exact fucking opposite, so which is it? Dumb bitch? Which is it, motherfucker? Just curious. I just want to know.
People, if anything, you know, again, my opinions really center on tactics and what we should do or what could be done in order to garner the most support. But for anyone who's spreading lies about me, supposedly being a transphobe, anyone who thinks that me liking Jesse Singal and sticking up for him when he's been smeared and slandered, if you think that translates to me hating transgender people or being a transphobe, you would be mistaken.
Who is Jesse Singal? Do you know? Jesse Singal has written multiple articles about why conversion therapy is the only way to properly treat transgender kids. Don't use hormones because hormones kill the kids. Don't use puberty blockers because puberty blockers kill the kids. We have to convert them in conversion therapy camps. That's what he's written. Now, I can sit here and go through an article that Jesse Singal wrote about conversion therapy, or you can look it up for yourself and we can skip this part, right? But she is banking, okay? She is banking on her audience not knowing who Jesse Singal is and not feeling the need to look him up. Now, like I said, we put a pin in something earlier.
And in our Twitch subs, we have Vitengale, who is commenting about Benny leaving TYT and says that silence is violence. So since you want me to address it, I will address it. So unfortunately, Benny has decided to leave TYT. I am definitely heartbroken over her decision to do that.
Now, let's unpull our pin, okay? So with all of the surrounding context, the fact that she misgendered Benny and then immediately corrected herself and didn't even say sorry, I don't buy it. I'm just going to let you know my opinion. right? We can debate this one. This one I am not 100% factually confirmed on, right? Now, I know for a fact Anna's transphobic. I know for a fact she's promoting conversion therapy authors. I know that for a fact. I know she's dumb for a fact. But I'm down to debate whether or not she did this on purpose. Okay? And I want to present to you my argument. Okay? She knows that she has been going on weeks and weeks and weeks of a transphobic hate campaign, and the people are very much so analyzing in detail everything she does. You would think, right? Like, the idea that she didn't practice this statement in the mirror, by the way, I don't buy it. She literally has spent all day, every day, over the last couple of days on Twitter, lying about the civil rights movement, lying about trans people, this and that, raging and screaming at the world. I'm not transphobic. I just think conversion therapy should be looked at. I'm not transphobic. I just think hormone blockers are dangerous. I'm not right? So, now again, if I were an ally and the only transgender employee at my company just left because everyone online is accusing me of being transphobic, I would not make this mistake, if you want to call it a mistake. But note, by the way, she doesn't say sorry. She doesn't even acknowledge it. Now, I want to present to you my hypothesis. Now, again, I am not saying this is a matter of fact. This is my opinion. Everything else I have said in this segment is a matter of fact. It is a matter of fact that she is dumb. It is a matter of fact that she is transphobic. It is a matter of fact that she is racist. That is undebatable. If you want to debate that, you're stupid. I'd rather debate a flat earther. But what I'm willing to debate is whether or not she did this on purpose. Right? And if I genuinely believed that I am not transphobic, and I genuinely believed that trans people got me all wrong, and the only trans worker for my company just left, I'm telling you, if I said him on air, I would immediately break down and apologize. But she doesn't. And now also, part 2 to my argument, she is this entire statement is, I'm not transphobic. I'm not transphobic. I love conversion therapy, but I'm not transphobic. Trans women are men, but I'm not transphobic. I'm not transphobic. Trans women have male bodies, but I'm not transphobic. Cross-sex hormones are dangerous for kids, but I'm not transphobic. Right? So this entire statement is not even acknowledging the criticisms. She is deflecting. Oh, it's the Twitter trans activists that pressured Benny to leave. It's not my behavior. I didn't do anything wrong. So again, with these 2 points, I am willing to tell you my opinion on this is that this is a test balloon. That's my opinion. She is seeing what she can get away with. She is seeing what people will actually defend her on. That is my hypothesis. Again, I'm willing to say it's not a fact. I can't tell you what's in her mind. But again, her statement is, it wasn't me, bro. I didn't do anything wrong, bro. It wasn't me. It's the Twitter fringe. It's the fringe activists. It's the extremists. I didn't do anything wrong. It's the extremists. I mean, I'm just telling everyone that trans women are men, but I'm not transphobic. It's the extremists. By the way, I'm going to call the only trans contributor who, by the way, just left because of my behavior. I'm going to call them him on air and not even apologize. Now, again, all of this information together, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Now again, I'm willing to debate it. I'm willing to have this conversation. I think this is in the realm of debate. Anna's intelligence, her IQ, not in the realm of debate. This bitch has got a 50 IQ at best, all right? Dumb as hell. Whether or not she's transphobic, undebatable. That's a matter of fact. But again, I just want to be fair. I'm willing to debate whether or not she did this on purpose, because you know, part of me is like, she's too dumb to kind of do this on purpose, but the other part of me is like, the intelligent part of her, which is the cover my ass part of her, may be well-trained enough So I don't know, man. You tell me. If you are still fucking with the Young Turks, I'm sorry, you're a bitch. If you're still subscribing and giving money to anybody on the Young Turks network, you are funding a transphobic hate campaign. Fact, Anna Kasparian is transphobic. If she weren't, she would actually debate the substance. She would bring a trans person on and have the conversation. She would call Benny on the phone. Do you think Benny's got a phone call? Hey, Benny, I'm sorry that you feel this way. Do you want to talk about it and maybe see what we can do? If I were in charge of a company and, like, let's just say the only black person at my company quit because I kept saying racist shit, if I really believed I'm not racist, I would call them on the phone and beg them to come back to work and try to figure out what I did wrong. I mean, just think about it. You know what I would not do? I would not go in front of every other employee and say, yeah, I'm totally not racist. That person is just an extremist. That's what I would not do. And so, personally, I think it's undebatable Anna Kasparian, transphobic, and also dumb as fuck. She's just a dumb, shit-for-brains, dumbass cocksucker. With all due respect. So anyway, I got one more that I want to do. Just give me a goddamn second here. Because I'm not done. The buck doesn't stop with Anna Kasparian or Cenk Uygur. And I know y'all might get triggered at this, but if you made it this far, hear me out. So, if I told you that I was a Republican and I were to run for office as a Republican, and I told you I'm a good Republican, but every donation you give to my campaign also goes to support Republican infrastructure. You give me $1, 50 cents goes to my campaign, 50 cents goes to the RNC. Right? Hey, I'm a good Republican. I swear. I'm not a racist Republican. I'm not a homophobic Republican. I love trans people. I love black people. I love immigrants. It's just, I also work for the RNC, and every time you give me money, you're also giving them money. So with that in mind, John Iadarola went on his show and brought out what I like to call beta energy. Now, I like John Iadarola. I don't watch his show because I don't support Republicans, and I refuse to give money to Republicans. But I think this guy is a good guy. So if John Iadarola, if you're watching my show, if you're watching this, someone sends this to you, I think you're a good guy, and I want you to do better. Okay? But I saw this shit, man. I saw it live, and I was like, let's watch.
So, just to clarify, I believe that trans men are men, trans women are women, and the trans community and trans individuals deserve our respect, compassion, empathy, support, and representation. That's what I think in general, and I have always tried to use my platform to advance those values, but also to make clear what I think about specific issues that might affect that community. You know, of course, I am a person. I have more than a few faults, flaws, and areas of ignorance that I believe I have a lifelong duty to try to minimize as much as possible. But on specific issues, I will say that I have always been supportive of a variety of different types of gender affirming care, including hormone replacement therapy. But more importantly than my actual support for those against an ongoing assault in state legislatures around the country from Republicans, I also believe that it's not the sort of thing that even I should be talking about. Side effects for a medication, that's for doctors and families to speak about. I will talk about it when necessary, but I also believe that, you know, the overwhelming consensus of doctors is what should, you know, drive that. So just to be clear about that, when it comes to sports, I have always been incredibly supportive of people playing for the sports teams that match their gender identity. I don't believe that the vast majority of people that have made this such a big issue over the past few years truly care about women's sports literally at all. They transition quite naturally and fluidly from invoking women's sports to then mocking it on the other hand. As a person who does support and attend women's sports on a regular basis, I've never understood that. I believe that sports are not harmed by people playing for the teams that they identify with. I think that they are strengthened, and I think there are massive benefits to be had for the individuals as well. We could go through a lot of these different issues. Obviously, I have a massive issue with the crusade that we're seeing across these and other issues. That's where I stand. I hope, always tried on this and other issues to use what limited
Beta! I'm sorry. And someone had to say it. Okay? Beta! Now, I want to describe to you something about my political philosophy, which is, where is your sphere of influence? Now, first of all, before I get to that, this is thoughts and prayers. That's all he did. Thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers. Oh, you're a trans TYT viewer? Well, thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers. That's what this is. Huge beta energy, thoughts and prayers. That's all he did. Now, John Iadarola has no problem justifiably going after Ron DeSantis. But I've got news for John Iadarola. You have no influence on national elections. Now, I'm willing to maybe say you got like 0.00001% influence on national elections. But you want to know what you do have, John Iadarola? To my understanding, the way I understand it, I don't watch the Young Turks. Isn't John Iadarola the second most popular show after the main show, after TYT, the show? Isn't The Damage Report the second most popular show on the network? Right? Isn't it? I mean, I could be wrong. For him to do this total beta energy garbage, this thoughts and prayers bullshit, to me, proves that politics for people like John Iadarola and people, just politicians in general, because this is a very politician response. This is a politician response, okay? This is like a Nancy Pelosi tier shitball response, okay? It's just a brand. I need you all to understand, these people don't actually put their money where their mouth is. It's a brand. What shirt am I wearing? What color hat am I wearing? What logo is on my sneaker? That's what politics is to people like this. Now back to the localized sphere of influence thing, right? He has almost 0 to 0.0001% influence on national elections. But in a localized sphere of influence, he is the second most popular show on the Young Turks. The second most popular show on the Young Turks. Imagine an alternative where John Iadarola said, you know what? The shit that Anna's been saying, the fact that Benny left the show, it's too much for me. I can't stay with the Young Turks. I can't support this. But he doesn't actually care about the issue. Now, I say this with all due respect. I think John Iadarola is a nice guy. But he is not someone that actually cares about this. I'm sorry, he isn't. Actions speak louder than thoughts and prayers. Okay? He cares more about access to his fancy studio where he can film his show more than human rights and the rights of his coworkers. He cares more about his platform and his current amounts of money that he's making than he cares about his only transgender coworker being bullied out of the company? Imagine if the second most popular TYT show threatened to strike, threatened to leave. But he doesn't give a fuck because he is too comfortable. And this is cisgender privilege. This is what you're watching. Ally in name only. Cisgender privilege. Benny does not have cisgender privilege. She can't stay at the network and just grit her teeth and deal with the constant harassment from her coworkers, because that's mentally damaging. John Iadarola can. And he is using his privilege to support those that are hateful in his company. He is using his privilege to become an anti-movement, politician-like individual. Now, I'm sorry. He's a nice guy. But being a nice guy does not mean that I have to fucking suck his dick on a daily basis when I disagree. This is some beta energy garbage. This is cis privilege. This is, I don't give a fuck. I don't even want to be talking about this right now, but I feel compelled. And he's going to go on his show and talk about Ron DeSantis, but he's afraid to say Anna's name. Because he's afraid. He's cucked. He's cucked. He loves his fancy studio. Now again, would he get fired? Think about it. Would Cenk and Anna fire their second most popular show? If John Iadarola stood up for Benny and said, I'm going to go on strike publicly, said Anna Kasparian is saying some crazy stuff, I don't agree with it. In fact, I think what she's saying is horrible. Would they fire him? Would they fire the second most popular show in TYT? Let them fire you. Do you understand what kind of, that's a career maker. That's a career maker. You got fired from the so-called self-proclaimed homo progressives for standing up for transgender coworkers when your boss went on an all-out public hate campaign against trans people. That's a career maker. That's shit that gets you a Wikipedia article. That's shit that gets you a new fucking subsection of your Wikipedia article. That is a major career move, but he's too much of a beta. He's cucked. He's too comfy. He doesn't care. Thoughts and prayers is all we get from John Iadarola. So again, he's a nice guy, whatever. If you think that if John Iadarola listened to my video, if you think that this would move him, feel free to send him my video. Maybe I was too mean. I'm not sure. Feel free to be a messenger on my behalf. Because this is garbage. I'm telling you, this is garbage, man. And I don't give a fuck about your thoughts and prayers. I really don't. I really don't care about your thoughts and prayers. I just don't. Actions speak louder than words. Thoughts and prayers are meaningless to me. And so, I gotta say, if you subscribe, and I say subscribe, I mean give money to. If you give money to the Damage Report, you're giving money to Anna Kasparian. You're giving money to Cenk Uygur. And you're giving money to an active, all-out transphobic hate campaign moving liberals to the right. And until John Iadarola realizes what kind of shit he's gotten himself into, and I don't think he wanted to be in this position. I don't think anybody wanted to be in this position. But until he realizes that, he is siding with the enemy. He is siding with the oppressor. Like I said at the start of this, if I was a Republican candidate and I was like, trust me, bro, I'm not racist. Trust me, bro, I'm not transphobic. But also, all the money you give me also funds the Republican infrastructure, which is racist and transphobic. Would you not feel a little weird about donating to my campaign? Right? But he's too comfortable. He's too comfortable, and he's got cis privilege. And the only thing he can tell Benny and the other trans people that watch TYT is, I don't have your back, but what I do have are thoughts and prayers. And again, I say this in a constructive way. I'm not trying to go out there and say John Iadarola is canceled. I think he's a nice guy. I think he has the ability to do good things. Right? I see promise in this motherfucker, and I say that with all due respect. Okay? But this ain't it. This is some beta energy. This is some weakling stuff. And I'm sorry, I don't care about your track record. You have a localized sphere of influence that gives you undue power that no one else has in your company. And instead of using it to help the people you proclaim that you like to help, you're going to throw it into the toilet and press the flush. Because he's too comfortable. He likes his studio too much. He likes his current setup too much. Right? He likes doing this show with the Young Turks cameras too much. He likes having the Young Turks producers too much. And he's too much of a beta to do anything else about it. So, I don't know. Feel free to tell him what I said. I know a lot of y'all sent this to me as well. And I know a lot of y'all feel the same way I do. But this is what a politician would say. This is like, you remember when Donald Trump would say some racist shit? And then every other Republican would be like, well, you see why this is wrong, is like blah, 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 but we're also not I don't know. Cis privilege, bro. You can't ever, you cannot ever count on people like John Iadarola to have your back. Because they won't. They won't. Right? You can never, ever count on these guys. Because they're going to tell you how much they love you. But when push comes to shove, they're going to run away in the opposite direction and leave you high and dry every single time. Because it doesn't affect them. It doesn't affect them. And they're too comfortable. And that's what happens when you become rich in the media space. I can tell you right now, I don't know anything about John Iadarola's finances on a personal level. But I can tell you, if he's got the second most popular show on the Young Turks, he is rich. He's doing really well. And he is too comfortable for even a small risk. Really, what's the risk? What's the risk when you think about it? What's the risk? Oh, you're going to get fired? Really? You're going to get fired from the Home of Progressives for standing up for trans rights? That's a career maker. He'd probably end up getting more money if he went independent. If he went independent and brought his fans with him, then the cut that TYT gets from every membership would no longer go to TYT. He would get the full cut. So it's not about money. It's not about action or beliefs. It's about comfort and privilege. And John Iadarola has way too much of both. Sorry, not sorry. If he called out Anna and they didn't fire him, would he stay or should he quit? My personal opinion, if I were in his position, I would dedicate my show to calling out Anna Kasparian until she either changes course or goes, or fires me. Like, one call out to me is like, and this isn't even a call out. This is just like, I'm a politician, let me make a statement or whatever. But I'm just letting you know my perception. If I had the second most popular show, I would use that platform to help the people I claim to care about. Anyway, y'all, that's the dumb bitch hour. You know, I don't want to throw John Iadarola too far under the bus. I wouldn't call him a dumb bitch necessarily. But that is the end of the dumb bitch hour. So we're entering the QConk portion of the show. Queries, comments, or concerns, you got them? Let me know. Andrea, have you read Peter Singer's essay on famine, affluence, morality? Because you seem to understand his philosophy. No, I have not. And, do I need to? These people have a chance to make some major waves and call out Anna for her garbage. I mean, I'm telling you this. If y'all have been in leftist media for like, or paid attention, you don't have to be directly a participant, I guess. But if y'all paid attention, do you remember what happened with Jimmy Dore? It was years. It was years of the Young Turks going like, well, I mean, he's not, I mean, like, well, you know, It's the same thing. We're going through the same thing. These motherfuckers have not learned a single motherfucking lesson. A single lesson. Zero. They've learned 0 lessons. When did I change my channel name? I don't know, a couple months ago. And why? I don't know. Why not? Blue Coffee, you totally sound like an unhinged freak who spends their time in a right-wing bubble. So, I suggest you listen to a couple more of my shows with an open mind and ask that question again, maybe on Monday, Tuesday. Am I going to be on other platforms that aren't Twitter? I'm on Blue Sky. I'm not making an account on Threads. Threads is pretty dumb. I'm sorry. I don't use any Facebook things, and I'm not going to start now. So fuck Threads. If that's what you're asking. By the way, if you want to see Jesse Singal's cringe piece, here's one of them. Anyway. What's up? I don't know. I'm just chilling here. If anyone has anything else. Did I see your cock? Your Q cock, I mean. If you could time travel and change a pivotal historical event, what would it be and why? My parents met by being co-workers. So what I would do is I would go and change one of their applications to be rejected. That's what I would do. I would say, sorry, we're looking for someone else. Blue Coffee, I suggest learning what words mean before trying to sound smart on the internet. Am I going to pull you in? I'm going to pull you in so far that you're going to lose your way. I don't know if that's the historical event you were thinking of, 0PE. Didn't you say you were going to debate people on the intentions of Anna? I guess you can't defend that take. Dude, I get it. You have a low IQ. I understand. That was like 20 minutes ago. That was like 20 minutes ago. Like, so I didn't bring someone on my show immediately to debate it, therefore I can't defend the take? Like, I get it. I know, y'all motherfuckers, man. I get it.
Totally the really, I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ.
But wow, man. I mean, try harder. Sizzling Wall. I know you're a troll. I know you're a Nazi. But, all that being said, I know you can do better than this. I know you can do better than this. Like, I believe in you, my man. I believe in your creativity. I believe you can be a more interesting troll. I trust you. I have faith in you. But wow. Can you not make me look like a fool? Buddy. 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 Slow down there, partner. Are regressive progressives a new trend? I believe so. Is this TYT clip on the public channel or behind a paywall? I got it from somebody who sent it to me, so I don't know if it's a public. I don't watch TYT. So, you tell me. I don't know. See, Young Jump. Talking about. That's creativity right there. Welcome, Young Jump. Welcome to the program. Like, what these dumb motherfuckers don't understand is I am an old school troll, motherfucker. Like, I don't care how cringe you think I am. I don't give a fuck, alright? I have been around this block more times than you can imagine. I have trolled thousands of streams. I have trolled thousands of motherfuckers. I am the queen of trolls. If you think you're going to get me to snap, it's not happening. I'm sorry. It's not fucking happening. You're gonna have to try really, really hard. Like, Young Jump. That's a great start, right? Like, you know, reward for the most up-and-coming newcomer, right? But you're gonna have to keep trying. Was it asking if you were holding to my word? Bro, what are you talking about? You didn't ask if I'm what? What?
They might come back. Okay. Really, I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ, they...
So step one, I say I'm willing to debate whether or not Anna misgendered Benny on purpose. Step two, dumb bitch in the chat says, why don't you like, bro, are you like begging to come on the show? Like, is that what you're doing? Do you want to come on the show? Like, all you have to do is ask, my man. Like, do you want to come on the show? I never said I was debating people 20 minutes ago. I never said that. I said I am willing to debate this subject. I did not say 20 minutes ago that I am debating people. I never said that. So not only are you dumb, but you are illiterate. You can't understand words in the English language, my man. Like, what the fuck? Like, quote, I am willing to debate this subject. You? Man, it's been 20 minutes and you haven't debated me yet, bruh. Bruh, what the fuck, man? It's been like 20 minutes, bro. What the fuck? What the fuck? Would you change your mind? What the fuck? Like, dude, again, they're not sending their best. Dude, I literally just invited you on my show. Man, okay, I'm not gonna lie, you're getting somewhere. This is fun. You're getting somewhere. This is really fun. I literally just invited you on my show, and now you're saying you don't want to debate it now? So step one, hey, you want to come on my show right now? Step two, you don't want to debate it now? Where's the link? What do you mean, where's the link, motherfucker? What do you mean, where's the link? Do you want to talk on Discord? There is no link, you dumb motherfucker. Do you know how to use Discord? There's no reminding required, you stupid fuck. Do you know what the word remind means? Like, are you aware of what that means? How would you talk without a link? Oh my fucking god. Do you know what Discord is? Yes or no? If the answer is no, we are not going to be talking. Jesus fucking motherfuck, man. Where's like the new... Here it is. Add me on Discord. Just so anyone else knows, I don't do this often, right? But I'm willing to spend a couple more minutes making fun of this guy so everyone else can have a good time. So, you know, this is a rare occurrence that I do a live troll call. This is doubtful to be productive. The only producing going on is we're producing some banger content. You missed my yes. You look so cringe. Oh my god. You look so cringe because you missed my yes. I'm waiting. This motherfucker's like, you missed my yes. You look so cringe. And yet it's like 2 minutes and counting and this guy doesn't know how to send an invite on Discord. Bruh, you look so cringe. I said, yes, I know how to use Discord. You look so cringe right now, man. By the way, how do I use Discord? It's been 2 minutes and I don't know what to do. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Like, how much longer am I supposed to wait for your bitch ass? I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Where you at, dumb bitch? Oh, where you at, dumb bitch? I'm waiting. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. What are we at? 3 minutes, my man? Where is the invite? Where is the invite? Because you're so intelligent, you know how to use it. I look cringe because you said yes, but apparently 5 minutes later, you can't send me a motherfucking invite. I'm waiting, motherfucker. I'm still here. Hello? Hello? Dumb bitch, do you know how to use Discord or not? Yes or no? You said yes. Add me on Discord, you dumb bitch. Add me on. I already fucking posted my goddamn shit. Add me on Discord. Add me on Discord, you dumb bitch. It's been 5 minutes. The self-proclaimed Discord expert is taking 5 minutes to learn how to send a fucking friend request, man. Jesus Christ. Oh, wow. Dumb bitch hour 2.0. Just so you know, it says there are no pending friend requests. Here's a Wumpus for now. What the fuck is Wumpus? There are no pending friend requests. Here's Wumpus for now. That's what I'm looking at. That's the screen I'm looking at. I'm waiting. Alright, motherfucker, I'm giving you 10 more seconds. If you can't figure out how to use Discord, try again next time. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And dumb bitch. I gave you fucking what, 5-6 minutes? I'm sorry. Learn how to use fucking Discord before trying to act tough, you dumb bitch. Anyway, everyone, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but we're not going to have that much fun. I'm going to go eat breakfast. You all have a great day. I will see you tomorrow for the Friday show.
Sometimes I'm a little scared or like I'm afraid of like talking to people who are outside of my race because I'm afraid of like talking to people who are outside of my race because
those with the lowest IQ, I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ, hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ.
of like talking to people who are outside of my race because I'm afraid of like talking to people who are outside of my race because I'm afraid of like talking to people. I'm afraid of like talking to people. I'm afraid of like people who are outside of my race because afraid of like talking to people who are outside of my race because people who are outside of my race because people like talking to people. I'm afraid of like talking to people. That was a pivotal moment for me. Misinforming the audience is not something I have any interest in. Misinforming the audience is not something I have any interest in. Misinforming the audience is not something I have any interest in. Misinforming the audience is not something I have any interest in. Look, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I'm a little scared or like I'm afraid of like talking to people who are outside of my race because I'm not gonna lie. I'm afraid of like talking to people who are outside of my race because I'm afraid of like talking to people who are outside of my race. I'm afraid of like talking to people. I'm afraid of like talking to people. I'm afraid of like talking to people. I'm afraid of like people who are outside of my race because 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 I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I'm afraid of like talking to people who are outside of my race because I'm afraid of like talking to people who are outside of my race because I'm afraid of like talking to people who are outside of my range because I'm afraid of like talking to people who are outside of my range because I'm afraid of like talking to people who are outside of my range because
hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ, hate to say this, I hate to say this, really, I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I'm a little scared or
Only the really.
I'm afraid of like talking to people who are outside of my range because
I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ.
who are outside of my range because sometimes I'm a little scared or sometimes I'm a little scared or
really. I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ.
I'm afraid of like talking to people who are outside of my range because
they might.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I'm a little scared or I'm afraid of like talking to people who are outside of my range.
But those with the lowest IQ. But those with the lowest IQ. But those with the lowest IQ.
I'm afraid of like talking to people who are outside of my range.
Lowest IQ. But those with the lowest IQ. But those with the lowest IQ.
I'm afraid of like talking to people who are outside of my range because
hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ.
That was a pivotal. Misinforming the audience is not something I have any interest in.
Those with the lowest IQ.